In this tutorial, I'm going to show you a type of continuous join as you go with UK double crochets. It creates a kind of a flat, twisted join that looks really pretty. Continuous join as you go, if you haven't come across it before, is no less than life-changing. It is quick, it's enjoyable, and there's very few tails to sew in at the end. For this tutorial, you will need 6 squares. I'm using these Sunburst granny squares that I've been making recently for a blanket. You'll need a hook and some scissors and your joining yarn. Just a reminder that I will be using UK crochet terms throughout the tutorial. We're going to be joining 6 squares into 2 rows, but it doesn't matter how many squares or rows you have, the process is exactly the same. Before we start, I'm going to switch briefly now to a snippet of a previous video that I've filmed, which shows you the direction in which we'll join the squares. I think it's just helpful to see a visual before we start, just so that you can see the joining journey. We're going to start up here in the top right hand corner, and this becomes our square 1. And then we'll work around a couple of the sides of square 1 and then join onto square 2. Round square 2 and then join onto square 3, round that way, and then we'll work the bottom edges of all those 3 squares. We'll then join onto square 4, working that way, and then join onto square 5, working again that way, and then join onto square 6, working round that way, and then all the way along the bottom edge again before we go along the side right up to the finish, which is back where we started. We're going to start with our first square. I've chosen this pinky red one, so make a slip knot and pop it onto your hook, and then we're going to start in the top right hand corner of our square. So put your hook into the corner and straight away make a double crochet, chain 1 and another double crochet into that corner. We're next going to work along the top edge of this square by working a double crochet into each stitch along. So all the way along until you get to the corner. And once you get to the corner, pop your hook in and do a double crochet into that corner space, 1 chain and a double crochet into the same space. So we're now going to repeat that along the second side of our square. So 1 double crochet into each stitch along. Almost at the ends. And then once you get to the corner, work a double crochet into that corner space, chain 1. So this is the point where we're going to join onto square number 2. So I'll pick up my number 2 square here, the pink one, and put your 2 squares so that the reverse sides are together, so you've got the right sides facing you. And then put your hook into the corner space of square number 2 and make a double crochet, and that joins the 2 squares at the corner. Next, we're going to work a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 2. And this is where we're going to start joining square number 1 and square number 2 together. So take your hook out and leave a loop, turn over to your square number 1 and then find the corresponding stitch on square number 1 and pop your hook in from the back to the front. Pick up the loop that you left and then pull it through, and that's your slip stitch join. You're now going to work a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 2. And this brings us to our next joining point. So again, take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square number 1 Put your hook in from the back to the front, pick the loop up that you left behind and pull it through. And again, you've slip stitched at that point the 2 squares together. Repeat the process, so 3 double crochet, so 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Time to do the join. Take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square 1, put your hook in, pick up the loop, pull it through, 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 2, find the corresponding stitch on square number 1, take your hook out, put your hook in from back to front, pick the loop up and pull it through. So we're coming up towards the corner now, so make a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 1, and then make a double crochet into the corner space, chain 1, find the corresponding chain 1 space on square number 1's corner, take your hook out, put your hook in from the back to the front, pick the loop up and pull the loop through. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself there, but hopefully that made sense. Then you're going to make a double crochet into that corner space there. And you've joined both square 1 and square 2 together. So what I'll do is I'm just going to zoom in so that you can see the join a little bit more closely. So you can see it's quite a closed join there, nice flat join, and it's got this nice little sort of twisty braid that goes through it. We're now going to repeat the process. So you're going to work a double crochet into each stitch along the top edge of square number 2. When you get to the corner, you'll work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then a double crochet into each stitch down the side of square number 2. So what we'll do is we'll get that done now, and I'll meet you once you've finished doing the double crochets along this side. So I've just finished working the double crochets along the side of square number 2, and I'm at the corner now. So I'm going to work a double crochet into the corner and a chain 1. And we're now going to join on to square 3. So pick up your square number 3, my orange one here. And once again, put your squares together so that the wrong sides are together and you've got the front side of square number 3 facing you. Put your hook into the corner of square number 3 and make a double crochet to join the squares together. So it's the same joining process again, so I'll talk you through it. Make a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 3. And now we're ready to join square number 3 to square number 2. So find the corresponding stitch on square number 2, take your hook out, put your hook in from the back to the front, pick the loop up and pull the loop through, and that's your slip stitch done. So repeat the process. So double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 3, take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square number 2, put your hook in, back to front, pull the loop through, and then repeat again, double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square number 2, put your hook in from back to front, pick the loop up and pull it through, and then work a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches along square number 3. Our next slip stitch join, so take your hook out, corresponding stitch on square number 2, hook in from back to front, pick the loop up and pull it through. And now we're almost at the corner again, so a double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, then a double crochet into the corner space, chain 1, and then take your hook out, find the chain 1 space on square number 2's corner, put your hook in from the back to the front and pick that loop up again and pull it through, and complete your corner by working a double crochet into that same corner space on square number 3. So we've now got 3 squares joined together, and we can continue working 1 double crochet into each stitch along the top edge of square number 3, and then the corner is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, and continue working a double crochet into each stitch along the side edge of square number 3. So we'll get that done now, and I'll meet you once we get to the bottom corner of square number 3. So you can see now that we've worked the double crochets along the top edge of square number 3 and down that side edge of square number 3, and we're now at the bottom corner of square number 3. So what we've got now with our first row is an unworked edge all the way along here, and that's the part that we're going to do next. So I'm just going to finish off my corner on square number 3. So that's 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, and I'm going to start working the double crochets along the bottom edge of square number 3. So 1 double crochet in each stitch until we get to the corner. Okay, so we've reached the corner now, and you're going to put a double crochet into that corner space on square number 3, 1 chain, and now find the join, and you've got a little gap here in the join, this one here, and you're just going to work a slip stitch into that join, and then a chain 1, and then you're going to work a double crochet into the corner space on square number 2. And then just continue working your double crochets along the bottom edge of square number 2 until you get to the next corner, or the next join I should say. So we're almost there now, just the last few stitches. Okay, so we're now at the corner of square 2, so put a double crochet into that corner space, find the join, there's the space in the join here, so you're going to chain 1 first, nearly forgot that, and then put your hook in and then slip stitch into that join, chain 1, and then a double crochet into the corner space on square 1, and continue with your double crochets all the way along the bottom of square number 1. So we're almost at the corner. So once you get to the corner, work a double crochet into the corner space and a chain 1, and that's where we're going to stop that row. So I'm just going to turn that back round again so you can see our first row. So we've joined square number 1 and square number 2 and square number 3, and we've completed all of the edges around apart from this one on the side here. This one is left at the moment, and we'll do that one at the very end once we've joined all our squares together. We're now going to start joining row number 2 onto row number 1. So I've got my next square, square number 4, which for me is this yellow one. So once again, we're going to put the 2 squares together. So square number 1 and square number 4 with their back sides together. So you've got the front of square 4 looking at you. And we're going to join into the corner of square number 4 with a double crochet. Now make a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches along square 4, just as we did with the other squares. And now we're ready to join square 4 onto square number 1. So once again, take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square number 1, put your hook in from the back to the front, pick the loop up that you left behind and pull the loop through. And then make a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 4. Now we're ready to join again. So take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square number 1, put your hook in from back to front, pick the loop up and pull it through. And then once again, a double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square 1, hook in back to front, pick the loop up, pull it through. A double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Take your hook out, find the stitch on square number 1, put your hook in from the back to the front, pick the loop up and pull it through. And then we're almost at the corner, so it's 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And then a double crochet into the corner space of square number 4, a chain 1, and then you're going to join to the chain 1 space on square number 1. So take your hook out, put your hook into the space, the chain 1 space from back to front, pick the loop up that you've left behind and pull it through. And you've slip stitched square 4 and square 1 at the corners. Complete your corner by working a chain 1 and a double crochet into the corner space of square number 4. Now we're going to work along the side of square number 4. Once again, just a double crochet into each of the stitches along this side, all the way until we get to the corner. Once you get to the corner, double crochet into the corner space, chain 1. So I'm just going to open it up again to show you. So we've joined the edges of square 4 and square 1 together. We're now ready to join square number 5 onto square number 4 and square number 2. So there's 2 joining edges here, this one along here and this one along here. So first of all, we're going to join square number 4 and square number 5. So pick up your square number 5 and put it with the reverse side together with square number 4. So you've got the front side of square number 5 looking at you. Put your hook into the corner of square number 5 and double crochet through there, and that joins them at the corners. Make your double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5, and that brings us to our first joining point. So take your hook out. On square number 4, find your corresponding stitch, put your hook in from back to front, pick your loop up and pull it through the stitch. Continue along the side of square number 5 with a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. take your hook out, put your hook into the corresponding stitch of square number 4, pick the loop up and pull it through, and then once again a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5. Take your hook out, find the corresponding stitch on square number 4, put your hook in from back to front, pick the loop up and pull it through, and then a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5. Pull your hook out, put your hook into the corresponding stitch from back to front on square number 4, pick your loop up and pull it through. We're almost at the corner now. So double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5, all the way up to the corner. And then in the corner space of square number 5, make your double crochet, chain 1. Now we need to join with the chain 1 space on square number 4. So take your hook out, find the chain 1 space on square number 4, which is there, put your hook in from back to front, find your loop you left behind and pull it through, chain 1, and now we need to join to square number 2, the pink one. Take your hook out, find the chain 1 space on square number 2 in the corner there, put your hook in from back to front, find your loop and pull it through, chain 1, and then complete your corner on square number 5, so the green square, by working a double crochet. And you've now joined your square number 5, green square, to square number 4, the yellow one, and to square number 2, the pink one. We now need to continue joining along the edges, the top edges of square number 5 and the bottom edge of square number 2. So it's the same process again. You're going to work your double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5. That's your first joining point with square number 2. So you take your hook out, you find the corresponding stitch on square number 2, pop your hook in to pull that loop through. And then once again, you work your double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5. Make your join with square number 2, double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches on square number 5, join with square number 2, double crochet into the next 3 stitches on square number 5, once again, join to square number 2, and then a double crochet into those last 3 stitches along that side of square number 5, and then a double crochet into the corner of square number 5 and a chain 1. And we now need to join to the chain space of the corner of square number 2. So just find that chain space, it's there, put your hook in, you've taken your hook out, and put your hook in back to front, pick up your loop you left behind, chain 1, and then complete your corner for square number 5 by making the double crochet in the corner chain space. And then continue to work your double crochets along the edge of that last edge of square number 5 there. All the way along until we get to the corner. Then once you get to the corner, you do your double crochet into the corner space and your chain 1. So just open that up again so you can now see the joins that we've made. So we've joined square number 5 to square number 4 and square number 2 along that edge and that edge, and we now need to start joining square number 6. Now square number 6 will be joined in exactly the same way as square number 5. So I'm going to get that done now, and then I'll meet you once we get to the bottom left hand corner here of square number 6. So we've now got all 6 squares joined, but we've still got this bottom edge along here that needs working. That one hasn't been done yet. So we're going to start at the bottom corner of square number 6 and get that last edge all finished. So in the corner, as before, a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then continue to make your double crochets into each stitch along this edge all the way until you get to the corner. Okay, so we're now at the corner space, so work your double crochet in there, chain 1, at the join work a slip stitch into the gap at the join, chain 1, and then a double crochet into the next corner space. Continue to work your double crochets all the way along. So we're working along the bottom edge of square number 5 now. All the way along to the next corner, and the next corner is treated in exactly the same way as the last corner. So a double crochet into the corner space, chain 1, find your gap in the join, slip stitch into there, chain 1, and a double crochet into the next corner space, and then continue to make your double crochets all the way along the edge. Oops, got my hook stuck there. So we're almost at that last corner. So once we get to there, we've now just got one edge left that's unworked, which is this edge along the side here. Now, if you were wanting to add subsequent rows, you would continue to add your rows at this point, and then once all your rows are added, you would then work that last edge along that side. So it's just the same as before. You're going to work your corner just as you have done for all the others. So it's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then a double crochet into each of the next stitches, each of the stitches along this edge. And the corners at the join are again treated in exactly the same way as before. So you're going to put a double crochet into the corner space, chain 1, find your join space and slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the next corner space, and then continue your double crochets all the way along the edge of that initial square 1 until you're back at where you started. Almost there, and then slip stitch to the top of the first stitch that you made, and you can fasten off. And there we go, you've joined your 6 squares continuously. Thank you very much for watching my tutorial. You can find more videos on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and find more information about this blanket on my blog. To keep up to date with what I'm making, come and follow Little Dove Crochet on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, bye!